Each year, I reflect on the previous year. A part of me has been in resistance to doing this. The whole year feels like I've been coming out of a death portal from my mother's death in November of 2024. It's been over a year, and I still feel like I'm coming out of a nightmare, or at the very least, a dream. It doesn't feel real. I'm going through my journals and revisiting 2025. I was alive. It did happen. I did things, a lot of things. Yet, like my mother's departure from her earthly body, the year doesn't quite feel real. I'm catching glimpses of myself going through the motions, experiencing intimacy, connection, joy, creativity, sadness, anger, depletion, and parts of me are numb, maybe still recovering from the intense shock. 2025 was the first year I've lived in my earthly body while my mother's earthly body sits ground up into ashes and dust, inside urns and sprinkled around her country property in Lake Ontario. A part of me doesn't care for much of what I did this past year. I grieved. That's what I did. That's what I had to do. It's not what I wanted. And I am proud of myself for how I've been caring for myself and my family during these difficult times. But imagining looking back as if finding some golden nuggets, well, I'm just not that excited about it like I normally am. My mother will still not be in her flesh. She will not be a visit or phone call or text away from my ears and touch. And I say this while holding some sadness, but not feeling so sad that I feel depressed. I say this also with gratitude and reverence. And it's a brutal honesty that moves through me, where I'm not sugarcoating the hard stuff, and I'm not wallowing in it either. I'm just sharing the felt reality that I'm experiencing. And I'm about ready to go sit in a sauna. And I treat it like a sweat lodge because that's what I'm used to. And have a purification sweat for the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. And I feel like this will be good and a ritual and ceremony to mark the end of the first year after walking my beloved mother across the fleshy veil into sheer light. In many ways, I'm doing this for myself while still in the flesh as well. And so this is an invitation to find out how you're doing, how you're marking the end of 2025. Are you celebrating? Are you grieving? Are you doing a mix of both? So many people have been talking about and reflecting on 2025 and Chinese astrology being the year of the snake, a 9 in numerology, the end of a cycle, shedding and release and letting go. And how 2026 is a 1 in numerology, a beginning, a start. And in February, we'll welcome in Chinese astrology the year of the horse. And that feels more expansive and free and forward moving. But then a lot of people are reflecting that we're still in winter, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere. And that's hibernation mode. And to have a new year be in the dead of winter can feel like we're going against the natural flow, the nature of life, when everything is preserving its energy deep underground and within. And in a lot of ways, still in survival mode, resting and recuperation so that we can be born again in the spring.
There she goes.
I didn't realize taking the Christmas decorations down and tossing out the tree to decompose back to the earth would spike a blowhole in the ocean of grief that lives within my soul. I didn't realize suggesting my husband learn a song would spiral around so many times, touching so many lives with its brave war cry. The poet and writer Allie Michelle wrote an honest poem that speaks to love being a double-edged sword where beauty falls in love with ugly, and how that's the greatest love story ever told. I didn't realize how trying to keep beauty close was actually placing it further away, outside of me, other than me. I did realize I'm a child still trying not to disappoint or upset her parents with my ugly honesty. I've been stifling my truth by trying to keep it beautiful. I didn't realize when I knew I had to shake things loose and be other than I normally am, attempting to practice utter ridiculousness, that I was being led to let beauty fall in love with ugly. The ugly truth. What is the ugly truth? The truth no one wants to hear? The truth no one wants to admit? We like our beauty, but at what expense? I didn't realize I've kept the most honest parts of myself locked away in hopes of being beautiful. I didn't realize my true beauty was hiding in the false ugly. I'll say that again. I didn't realize my true beauty was hiding in the false ugly, and the true ugliness was behind the false beauty. I didn't realize I was wearing a mask of beauty to hide my ugliness. I didn't realize beauty would be found once I let beauty go, and I welcomed ugliness in. I took my Christmas tree down and found the emptiness that was covered up with the bright shining bulbs and the ribbons and bows. And by exposing the emptiness, that blowhole of grief got to howl and whistle, making sweet music with my beloved husband. I've been trying to make a beautiful life for as long as I can remember. Not true. My mother was trying to make a beautiful life for as long as I can remember. When I started living on my own, I started my own attempting. Since I became a mother, since I was 16 years old, I've been trying to make my life beautiful. I've been attempting to make other lives beautiful, make life beautiful. And I did. And I do. But it never worked when I was trying to cover something up. It worked best when I let things open, breathe, weep, and even bleed. I've been a confronter and exposer of lies my whole life, and this started at the age of 5. Ironically, this has been a necessary tool in the exposing of beauty. I had to expose the ugliness. But when doing so, somehow and miraculously, the ugly turned to beauty. Last night, I sat in a pre-recorded Zoom circle with my grief and the grief of many others in a Rosemary Tromer writing with grief community. The poet and writer Rosemary said she didn't have so many rules for us other than to not try to write something beautiful, but to write something honest. I didn't realize honesty has been my double-edged sword, my North Star, and my greatest fear. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. I need to, and I can't. A trap, one I can't seem to escape. Yet here I am, letting beauty fall in love with ugly, and letting honesty pave the way, whether anyone approves or not. The beautiful lie is, I'm scared the only unconditionally loving person I ever knew died. The ugly truth is, my mother died, and unconditional love still lives. The beautiful lie is, life goes on. The ugly truth is, things are forever different. The ugly lie is, we try to hold on to familiarity at all costs. The beautiful truth is, we can't lock people or things away in hopes that they stay the same. Nature is forever changing. The beautiful lie is, I've locked up a lot of ghosts. The ugly truth is, we are all happier when I set them free. To let beauty fall in love with ugly. To let ugly truths cover up beautiful lies. Not the New Year's resolution I was expecting, but the ugly truth never is. My husband has been learning to play Steven Wilson Jr.'s Grief is Only Love. Grief is only love. Ain't that the ugly truth? Steven Wilson Jr. wrote, life is a battlefield. I've heard others say life is a garden. The beautiful lie is separating these two. The ugly truth is sitting in the center of both. Some of the ghosts I've caged inside are, I'm a social worker. I'm a mother to 4 children. My mother is my everything. My biological father is nothing. And I feel lighter letting these prisoners go. Life is a battlefield, and it'll drag you right through hell, Steven Wilson Jr. belts out. And he ain't lying. Mary Oliver wrote, tell me, what is your plan to do with your one wild and precious life? She ain't lying either. My garden is not without thorns, brambles, death, and compost. Hell isn't as far as my beautiful eyes like to imagine. The good news is neither is heaven. I once read the sinner and saint are merely exchanging notes. I'm not sure if that is an Oscar Wilde quote or not, but the emphasis on the two being closer than we think feels like an ugly truth in my built-in body's truth and lie detector. Roses have thorns. Even my Christmas tree pricked my fingers a few times. Life is not without danger or threat, pain or decay. Yet somehow the birds sing when the night turns to day. And that first sip of tea convinces me nearly every morning that everything not only will be okay, but is.